Okay, yes. Those people are going to have arguments, rebuttals, judgment, no matter what. There's going to be all kinds of attacks. They're going to keep doing it. And as one person commented earlier, we really don't even need to give them the attention they're seeking. The time of day. Let them, whatever. But, this family is sick of it. They want their daughter's name clear. They want the victims of this crime to have the support and the respect that they deserve. And they want the smearing of her name and character to stop across social media. So, But, I do get the point of the commenter that said, hey, these people are going to let them do their thing. Don't even dignify them or hurt yourself or even stress yourself to give them the time of day or the attention, which that's a true statement. That's very valid. I get that. I feel that too. I really do. And I won't be focused on them for long. I'm really not focused on them now. But I do feel it was important for me to bring up some of these things, put them on the table, give some perspective to it. So I wanted to do that. And I'm going to be wrapping up, probably in one more video, this first segment and series of the Watts murder case as far as why are people bashing Shannan, and looking at, very important to me, different elements of their personalities and how they were in the relationship and what was highly likely going on. Some things that could have been going on that I want to open the perspective on, okay? No, I can never say for 100% what happened, what they were like 24/7, what they did. I couldn't follow them around 24/7. I didn't know these people. But I want to provide some perspective. In the coming video, that's going to be the concluding thoughts of the bashing of Shannan. It may take me one, maybe two videos to wrap that up. I can move on to other content. I'm going to get into another aspect as far as her personality, this whole way she interacted with Chris and the demeanor and where I think a lot of that was coming from. I feel like it was mentioned that Shannan may have had OCD. I did see that mentioned and documented somewhere. I don't know if she did or not. I don't know if she had anxiety or an anxiety disorder or not. She did seem like sort of a type A person who likely had some type of anxiety, or the type that would have anxiety. And OCD is an anxiety disorder. I get tired of that word being thrown around too, because I have OCD. I have generalized anxiety disorder with obsessive compulsive traits, diagnosed many years ago. Been with the same therapist all my life. And OCD can be a very, very serious thing. It's complex and it can be hard to understand for others. And people throw that fucking OCD term around like changing underwear, just like they do narcissist. And I do have some insight to provide in future videos about what it's like to have an anxiety disorder. I've dealt with it all of my life. And OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, I do not have the full-blown disorder, just like full-blown narcissistic personality disorder. And some people have just narcissistic tendencies or traits. I have just obsessive compulsive traits. Now, that's probably more than just having obsessive compulsive tendencies. That would mean just every once in a while, and it really never affects your life that much. Obsessive compulsive traits is more mild to moderate, a higher level of OCD, and it does affect my life. But I can keep it under control on my own without medication. Full-blown obsessive compulsive disorder is where it really gets out of control. It affects your daily living. It affects the way you function. You may have to be medicated. You may have to do other work. So, comes in degrees, kind of like narcissism. Have a lot to say on this subject. And I personally feel like, again, experience is one of our biggest teachers. Don't knock that. Oh, well, how would you know? You haven't studied that, or you don't have a degree in that, or you didn't know. You aren't with them 24/7, but I'll tell you something. If you have experienced something, you can see it sometimes on other people because you know what you're looking at. You know the body language, you know the tone, you know the reactions, you know certain things. Just saying. Experience makes you wise, makes you knowledgeable. That's one of our biggest teachers. And so, I personally feel like some of the same things that have happened to me in my life, in my relationships, very highly likely were happening to her too. As a strong woman and all the other characteristics that she had, outspoken, assertive, motivated. I feel that Shannan may have had anxiety, may have had an anxiety disorder, may have had some degree of obsessive compulsive disorder. Which is an anxiety disorder. And if you have any of that, it will cause you to do certain things and operate a certain way out of the anxiety that you have. And it causes you to do things to relieve that anxiety. And it's about working on that. And it's not about others. It's not about controlling others. But other people will misinterpret it. It takes a really understanding partner. If you do have anxiety or OCD, it takes a really understanding, emotionally intelligent partner that is on an emotionally mature level to kind of understand you and work around some of those things. And if you're with a covert narcissist and you have OCD or you have any type of anxiety, oh God, they not only don't have the emotional and mental capacity to understand it, because they don't understand themselves in the first place. So how could they, but they will make it worse. And they will. So I think some of these dynamics very highly likely could have been going on. As far as Shannan's need to, I see myself in a lot of that. As far as my keeping my home a certain way, keeping things a certain way. I'm going to get into all these little details in a future video coming up real soon. I'm going to get into what generalized anxiety and OCD is like, and how I see certain things in Shannan Watts and the Watts case that I feel like were misunderstood about her, that were taken, and because it's happened to me. I had a partner living with me one time. We were really close. That made me feel so bad about my anxiety disorder, just for his own lack of understanding, his own immaturity. Made me feel like and made me look like that I was a horrible person all the time, that I was controlling or doing, and it was totally backwards. It wasn't about that. No, I didn't want to control anything to do with him. I was controlling my anxiety, my own space. I would have to go into this in another video about what it's like to have that and live with that and how people misunderstand it all the time. Sometimes having just anxiety alone is misconstrued as being a narcissist, as having high narcissism. And it's not that at all. It's a fucking anxiety attack. And you're trying to control your anxiety, your immediate environment. And some people are so unlucky not to have good, caring partners that will take time to do the research. What is wrong with you? I'll do anything to help you through it. I'll try to help. I'll try to understand it. A covert narcissist doesn't have that kind of emotional intelligence. No, they're too busy being offended by everything you do. You're controlling me. And I'm going to talk about how they set you up to control them. Yeah, they put you in control in the first place. Oh, yeah. That's part of how they control you. It's a flip thing they do. It's a coercive thing. I'll get into it later. Oh, yes, they put you in control. But just so many little ridiculous things. We talked about how people hate on Shannan because, well, if she worked from home, why'd she take her kids to daycare? She didn't care about those kids. It was all just selling products. That's all it was about. Just making her money and spending up Chris's money, selling those products. And why'd she take her kids to daycare? And another thing, we've already discussed that. And how she spoke to her kids. She always called them little monsters and all. They're driving me crazy. Okay, we touched on some of those points. So ridiculous how they take it out of context and just wrap it around some nasty narrative. Instead of think about it. Think about it. But then again, I have to put myself in their shoes and go, okay, I bet half these people don't even have kids. I bet half of them talking this trash are high-level narcissists themselves. I bet they don't have the experience behind them. I bet half of them haven't even been in a relationship or been married. They probably just don't have the experience, the knowledge, the wisdom, the insight. They're just flapping their gums. Okay, you know. But we touched on, and another thing, put yourself in her shoes. I had 2 boys 14 months apart when I was in my early 20s. They are now in their 20s. And luckily, you know, I had my husband. I had my mother not far away. She would come to babysit sometimes if I had to work or go somewhere. Because I didn't really like leaving my children with many people. But if I hadn't had my mother, it would have been very difficult when my husband was at work. Me having 2 children 14 months apart, I wouldn't have been able to take a breath. I wouldn't have been able to do anything unless he was home. And then when he gets home, geez, you know, the guy's tired. He just came in from work. He might want to shower or relax a minute before he goes right into childcare with his own kids. It's hard. It's hard being a parent when the children are very, very young. You know, you got to have a lot of focus and strength. And think about it. Shannan's family lived across the country. She didn't have anyone but Chris. They are all they had, okay? Yes, she had friends, and yes, this and that. But when my children were really little like that, I was very particular about leaving them with people, and the kids might have been particular about staying with other people, not just anybody that you can leave your kids with. The grandparents, yeah, they're usually okay with that, but you know, people have trouble with this stuff. So think about it. Her mother, her support system lived all the way across the country, and so did his. So she didn't have that where she could just call mom and go, hey, can you watch the girls for a little bit while I need to go shopping and I need to concentrate on a few things. And as a parent, we don't want to be mean to our kids. We don't want the child to see us stressed out. We don't want to have to snap at them. We want to be able to give them our undivided attention. And it can be difficult juggling act being a parent, taking the kid along on important errands. We're trying to concentrate. I think my kids were about to be kidnapped one time. I will share that story here on my channel very soon. The story of how my 2 little boys, when they were in grade school, even younger, we went shopping for school supplies one day. And this is what it really takes to be a parent. You better listen to your intuition. Don't ignore that inner voice. And that is what saved my children that day. Because I do believe a man inside a Kmart was going to take my children that day. We were shopping for school supplies, and they were big enough to where they could go one aisle over and look at toys and stuff. And as long as I could hear them talking, and I would communicate with them every couple seconds while I tried to concentrate, then I knew they were okay. And I'm trying to concentrate, and I'm trying to listen for them too. I really don't want them to go too far. I'm trying to pay attention. And it's really hard to do. It's really hard to do. And these kids are bigger. They're not 3 and 4. They were like 6 and 7 at the time. Well, I didn't hear their voice all of a sudden. And I'm still trying to calculate, concentrate, pick out school supplies. Something told me, hey guys, as long as they said yeah, then I knew they were okay. They're right there. They didn't say anything. I'll tell you the rest of that story, so stay tuned, okay? I'll get that video up here in a few days for you guys. The full story of what happened that day in Kmart scared me to death. So the juggling act of being a parent, you take them out on errands. You're trying to concentrate. You're trying to make sure you get things, and you got the kids and the attention, and oh my God. So you need to put yourself in a parent's shoes sometimes, and don't just bash them and assume things that you know until you've really walked in those shoes. And her support system lived across the country. She couldn't call mom, just pop right over, and I need to go to the store. I need to do some really important things, and why does it always have to be she had such bad intentions for her kids? She was so thoughtless, so selfish, didn't care, or such bad intentions for Chris. Why? Why does it have to be that? Because I know what it's like to be in those shoes and have the best intentions in your heart for everybody, and it still doesn't fucking matter. You're still the bitch. You're still selfish. People judge you because you're strong, assertive, powerful, because you have a certain personality. I know what it feels like to be misjudged like that. My anxiety disorder, my OCD, my particularness, And really me being the whole time a loving, thoughtful, would do anything for the people I love, compassionate human being. Non-abusive. Until I am just pushed and pushed and pushed and backed into a fucking corner. But see, we should never let it go that far. We should have high value, high self-esteem, big boundaries to shut people down, assertive enough to speak up, not desperate to please them, toxic stuff. We should never ever let people go that far. To the point where we have to come back and reactionally abuse them, cuss them out, degrade them, sarcastic with them because we're so mad. All of those can be forms of passive-aggressive things against each other. Yes, that can go on in relationships. Nobody's perfect. Maybe she did do some of that. Maybe he did too. It doesn't make her, it does not justify what he did, and it doesn't make her the abuser. It does not mean she was emotionally abusing her husband on a regular basis, didn't care about her kids, didn't care about her husband, just a money-grubbing, product-selling, fucking selfish person. And I am here to speak out on that, provide perspective to stuff like that, okay? There's lots of stuff. So yeah, the whole daycare thing, come on, man. Put yourself in her shoes. If you've ever been a parent, if you're a parent, if you've raised kids, then you know what's up. It can be damn difficult. And as far as the terms of endearment that we spoke on, that's what I think. That's what I feel. You little monsters. Oh my God. Cece's just a monster. Look at her go. Oh, they're driving me crazy today. What parent hadn't said half that shit? I think they were terms of endearment. Just like I think some of the things that she said to Chris and cut up and teased him about him, I think those were terms of endearment to her. I think that was a really strong woman. Her skin was thick. She felt pretty good and okay about herself. She had pretty good self-esteem. She wasn't all wadded up on the inside. There's a difference between being sensitive and hypersensitive. Highly sensitive is wonderful. That's great. It means you can feel others and you're sensitive about things when you should be in a well-regulated way. Hypersensitive is something else. It's toxic. You see it a lot in narcissism. Covert, high-level narcissists and covert narcissists, they're so hypersensitive. If the wind blows on them, or if somebody else wins the ball game, or somebody else gets a promotion, or your dress is prettier, or you're having a good day, they hate you. Secretly hate you. Yeah, there's a lot to know. Lot to know about human nature. Narcissism, how it really operates, who's who and what's what. So, but yeah, in the next video, I'm going to get into those elements as far as OCD, anxiety, what I kind of saw in Shannan and what I think was being misunderstood about her on Chris's part. Some areas that they were not really connecting because he didn't have the fucking emotional intelligence to connect because he was a fucking covert narcissist. And that's really what a covert narcissist will do. They are so inferior and so ashamed and so threatened by everything and so hypersensitive inside, and they're hiding and masking all of this, and only little bits of it come out for you to pick up on, and it's so perplexing, so bizarre. And they will literally take your disorder, anything that's wrong with you that they should be supporting. I lived with this for years. And they will flip it upside down and make it about them. You're hurting me. You're controlling me. And it has nothing to do with them. It's about your own anxiety. So I'm going to get into those elements that I saw in the situation, that I felt on it. That and some things that I've lived through as well, and provide some perspective to that in the next video as I finish up why people bash Shannan and some things I think that are being highly misunderstood and some things I think highly likely were going on in the situation. Also, people often talk about not just how she interacted with Chris. And again, let me make this statement clear. Just because someone was murdered, no. I am not saying that I don't understand. That would be ignorant of me. That would be so naive of me. Please don't insult my intelligence that way. for those bashers out there or whatever, don't insult my fucking intelligence. I never said anybody was perfect. I never said I was sitting here in La La Land and, oh, all people that are murdered were just perfect on this earth and they never did anything wrong in their whole life and they can do no wrong. I would be like one of those narcissistic mothers, you know, the type, kind of like Cindy Watts. My son can do no wrong. I'm so proud of you. You're just wonderful. After he wiped out his entire family, can you get any more narcissistic and delusional? I mean, but she's got to feed his ego because that's her narcissistic supply too. Yeah, we have to understand these things. There's lots to understand. Anyway, that would be stupid of me, right? Don't insult my fucking intelligence that way. I never said anything like that. I'm not thinking from that level. Those people, the bashers out there, are so narcissistic themselves, on high levels of narcissism themselves, or covert narcissism or whatever, so empty and inferior and petty and weird, that they got it all twisted. That they're so high level narcissistic themselves that they are assuming that it's black and white like that. You see, the rest of us non-pathological, healthy, emotionally well-regulated and intelligent people with compassion and empathy and respect, and our brain isn't going to those extremes. We're not even thinking like that. That's how we can tell that half of them are high-level narcissists, because they're so fucking extreme. It's like, they're like, yeah, it has to be all bad or all good, and all you people that, just because she was murdered, you're all worshiping her and saying she was a saint, and what was so wonderful about her, just because she was murdered, she this and she that, and you can just tell by the way they speak and the way they're looking at it in such an extreme way. You could tell that most of them have some very high-level narcissistic traits, probably very toxic people. Because most of the rest of us, we never said that. We didn't go to that extreme with it. We're just acknowledging that from what we saw, the people that didn't know her personally, from what we were given and what we saw of her and soaked in about her energy, she gave us no reason to think that she was otherwise. She gave us no reason to think she was a bad mother. We have no evidence of that. She gave us no reason to think she was a shitty person. In fact, there's evidence that points in the other fucking direction. That she was a good person, a cool person, cared about people. These little fucking personality flaws, and we all have them. We all have some narcissism. We all have moody days. We all have fucking days where we're sick of somebody's shit, and it's reflected in our attitude towards them. So what? Doesn't mean she was a bad mother, a bad wife, hated her husband, emotionally abused him, fucking all these terrible things, only cared about selling products. Didn't mean none of that. Didn't mean she drove him to fucking do this. Because a lot of people are stuck there. They want to know, what about her? What did she do that made him so angry? Because he was so angry. He admitted, I hated her. I was so fucking angry at her. By the time I killed her, I this and I that. Horrible things, details. Listen, that motherfucker was angry at himself. You have to understand covert narcissism. You have to have lived with the shit for years to know what it is. It's nothing she did. It's nothing she could have done or changed or done. You could bend over backwards for a covert narcissist. It doesn't matter. They hate you anyway. They will always hate you. They will always resent you. The very people they're supposed to love and appreciate. Because they fucking hate themselves. They're lacking. Oozing with lack and inferiority and shame and wishing they could do and say and be. And it's nothing she did. It's nothing she could have done. It's the way he thought. And it's the way he interpreted her. It's the way he interpreted her actions, her living, her operations, her energy, what she did on a daily basis, how she spoke, communicated with him. It's the way he fucking interpreted it. It's his own shit, his own selfish shit. And then the mistress comes in and all this pops off. It's his own selfish shit, his own hatred, brewing and brewing and brewing and brewing and brewing. There's nothing she could have done to change him, to stop that. It's in the mind of a covert narc. The hatred and self-loathing and self-pitying and shame and fear and inferiority and all of these things. It's the way he interpreted her. He could have been an emotionally intelligent man. Maturity. Good communication skills. He could have spoken to her at any time. She never put a fucking gun to his head and made him do anything. He willingly went. And this is where, here pretty soon in the next video, I'm going to get deeper off into how the covert narcissist operates. How they put you in control. It's a trap. Okay, so I'm going to have to cut this one off. But yes, I'm going to get into these things in the very next video. And that'll be the kind of wrap up to the bashing of Shannan. But yes, don't buy into it. Don't buy into it. We're going to get into how a covert narcissist, behind closed doors, their personality is very, very different. And it's so subtle, it's even hard for you to understand it. They will put you in control. This is what happened to me. And it happened to me twice. They will put you in control. They will give you things. They'll give you all their money. They will literally force you to take it. Insist on it. If you don't, they'll play game. They'll pout. Any angle they can get in on you. Whatever they have to do. However they have to change themselves to get you to do what they want. It's like coercive control. If you don't take what they're offering you, they'll pout. And these are grown fucking men, too. It's disgusting. That's why your attitude changes with them. What they put you through is hell. It's disgusting. And even though you still love them, because oftentimes we still love our abusers, you still lose respect for them. And it's reflected in your attitude sometimes. But people need to understand what the fuck drove you there in the first place. They need to understand what you're being put through. All right. They will put you in control. They will coerce you into it. They'll pout if you don't take it. Like, say, I'm going to get into it, okay, in the very next video. Some examples. What happened to me and how tricky they are, how they operate. All this bullshit. They don't operate straight up and normal like they should. It's all about them and their ego and a need to control others because they lack the confidence to control their own shit, to face their own identity. They lack the confidence, like the classic grandiose narc will just take what they want. They'll tell you what's up. They lack confidence. They want to be liked. I'm scared you won't like me if I get too aggressive. You know, they have all that going on. They'll put you in control. They'll coerce you into it. They'll give you money. They'll give you gifts. If you go, no, I'm good. I'm okay. Thanks, you've done enough. Or if you decline, if you do not let them coercively control you and go through with their operations and you shut them down in any way, a nice way or anything, they'll do whatever they have to get you to accept it and put you in the setup that they want you in first. Okay? Yes, yes, yes. These are some things that I think were going on in this case. Things that people don't know. Things that people have to live with to know. There's some shit, man. It's hidden. It's sneaky. It's weird. And yes, it's abuse. Okay. And they make you look like the abuser. By the time you start reacting to the shit and getting sick of it, and you're not. You really weren't ever the abuser. You're just an outspoken fucking person doing your fucking thing. Highly misunderstood shit, and I don't like it, and it's not fair. We're going to talk about it more in the next video. They want to give you things and insist that you take it, or they'll either pout, or they'll be really offended if you don't take it, or, oh, please, baby, please, I want you to be happy. I want you to have that. That's for you. You take that money, honey. You spend it. Oh, sure, anything for you. Or, what do you mean? You don't want to take it. Just go ahead and take it. I want you to have it. What do you mean? My feelings are hurt. I don't want you to have to go out and, they will set your ass up. When you didn't want it in the first place and you tried to get out of it, oh my God, the psychological abuse and games and bullshit that happens with a covert narcissist. Then people see you getting sick of it finally, yeah, and they think you're the damn abuser. Nope. Behind closed doors, these people have been driving you out of your mind. Every psychological fucking game they could play. Like a little kid. They are like kids. They act like kids. That's another reason you get disgusted with them, because they're grown men. Anyway, that money shit, and she spent up all his money, and she did this and that. Never said she was perfect. I spent up all my husband's money a time or two. Okay, but I wasn't a fucking high-level narcissist, and I wasn't abusing him, and I did love him, and I did fucking care about him, and I've been over backwards for him a lot of the time. So let's get this shit straight here. Let's figure out who's who and what's what. Very highly possible. They will give you money, they will offer you things, and if you don't take it, they will get pissed. It's such a fucking jerk around, man. You can't win for losing. Then if you see, then they'll turn around, they'll throw it in your face that they gave it to you. They'll hold it over your head. They'll, oh man, you really spent that, all that. But whoa. Just earlier I told you I have my own credit card. I'll do it myself, I'm good. And you insisted. You, come on. You wouldn't stop until I gave in and went ahead and now you're saying it's all a means for their little pitiful, pathetic fucking egos to get constant attention from you. Constantly jerking your brain around and tying you up in arguments and stupid little focuses where because they're jealous that you're actually grown. You face your issues. You're a career person. You can speak to people. You're busy. You're focused. You're happy. And they don't have any of that shit for themselves. They focus on attaching to others like a parasite and getting all of their self-esteem, getting all the attention by wrapping you up in little bullshit traps and controls and psychological bullshit all the time, like you're with a fucking kid or teenager. And you're the whole time going into shock, like, what the fuck? Who are you? Okay, forget it. I gotta go to work. I love you. I love this person. I'm gonna ignore this. I hope it gets better. I don't know what the hell's wrong with him. This is weird. And then he'll take it back a while and he'll be normal for a while and you'll think everything's okay. Maybe it was just a little. It is inconceivable what you go through with a covert narcissist. I want to get the word out, okay? Because I fucking lived through it. They will make you suffer. It's inside of them. It's inside of them. It's not about what you did. And it's very highly possible this shit was going on with the Watts. So I'm going to get deeper into this in the next video. What the covert narcissist does, how they operate, speak, talk, operate, trick, examples of it. We're also going to talk about OCD and anxiety. Some things I felt on Shannan's personality that probably were being very misunderstood about why she did certain things and controlled certain things. That's about controlling our own anxiety, not about fucking controlling you. Yes, but that's a very important point to know about a covert narcissist. They will lure